After this unordinary year and season, what does the opportunity to compete at this championship mean to you and your team?
It really means a lot to us, especially how last year everything became shut down and we were coming off here at Fresno State a record year, for lack of better words. Lots of milestones had been hit. So to be able to come back and compete is huge. I think it's huge for all of us within our own sport of being able to have a national championship. So we're looking ahead for it. We're excited about it, and we'll bring our A game.
Do you feel prepared going into competition in Waco, and what has your team done to prepare for this competition?
Again, this year has been kind of with all of the changes and ever changing statuses on things each week. Here at Fresno State, we did not practice in the fall. Our student athletes weren't allowed here. So there's a little bit that sits in the back of our mind on it, but we don't really talk about it. We just keep coming and riding and preparing. Practices have been about the same. For us, a little more intensity after our performance at conference championships. So we needed to kind of up some things and adjust, press on some pressures here and there to adapt to. So we're feeling more confident than we did going into Big 12s.
What is your team most looking forward to with national championships this year?
Just being able to go and compete. That's the hugest thing. I know there's some different things happening there and what we have to abide by with all of our COVID rules, which we're happy to do and to be able to play our sport. So, but just being able to go and compete is going to be the hugest thing for us.
What have been some of the biggest challenges of this season?
I think for us as a whole, the challenge of waiting for our test results in those next 12 hours or so that takes to get them back, that's some of the biggest challenges of holding our breath to make sure everybody's coming back and staying healthy and no one's being affected by the COVID-19. That's been a big part of our weekly testing every week. So having that has been a big part. But, again, feeling a little behind the eight ball when we started out. But everybody jumped in ready to go right away and jumped in with both feet and went to work. So that's been a big thing for us to overcome. Some of the other things, again, is just trying to adapt and realize what our day-to-day looks like compared to what it usually has. Some of our team dynamic things that we do and practice sometimes haven't been able to really work for us because trying to keep us in small groups and keep us healthy. So I think a little bit of our team dynamic has had to adjust, but because in the end of the day, we're really a close-knit team, and so we've become as close as we physically can and still abide by our COVID restrictions and protocols, but yet still be able to produce a strong team.
What have been your team's strengths this season, and how can those help you to be successful during championships?
I think the biggest thing that is one of the strengths is the support that our team gives each other day in and day out, be it in practice, be it in workouts, even in our classroom settings. I know we're in an online setting, but helping each other to overcome some of those hurdles. But the support and for us, we had a much smaller team when we traveled to the Big 12 as far as some of their schools that were closer could bring their whole teams and things like that. So they cheered just as loud and they were supportive and all those things that really help us when it comes to competition day and those moments of being able to have that extra energy that we really need when we need to go be strong.
Is preparation for championships different, and how is it different from a regular season competition?
It's different in the sense that we're doing a lot more small group work. And so when we have nationals, with that prep that we're working for, it is usually kind of our squad groups together, the horsemanship, the reining, hunt seat, or our jumping seat team, the flattened fences. We practice in a group, so there's 6 or 7 of them practicing and working together and overcoming challenges and learning from each other. And that's kind of had to go away a little bit, keeping it smaller groups, keeping ourselves within our kind of our pods, if you will. So that's been a little bit of a change because sometimes being able to learn from other people's either what decisions they made really well or what decisions they made poor when they were practicing and riding And so having that dynamic and to be able to kind of learn from each other and bounce ideas off each other really hasn't been there. So we're relying a lot more on our own instincts, and we're developing that confidence to be able to make adjustments and adapt and be that strong as we head into nationals.
What are you expecting to see from your team starting on Thursday?
I really think we're going to come out with a lot of energy. We really had to kind of look at some things after the Big 12 and our performance there. And so what did we lack between then and, our previous Texas trip where we went down there and competed against the Big 12 schools on neutral horses, and we're back to that. So how do we recreate that? How do we recreate what we had there going into that? And so we're not going to lay down and roll over. Oklahoma State's a strong team. They'll be well prepared, but we're ready to take on that challenge. As in the regular season, we came down to the last point and lost by 1 to them. So we're ready to bounce back and give them a run for their money.